guys, it's Michelle, and today's video is going to be yet another reincarnation story for you guys. I love and hate reincarnation videos because reincarnation is something that like low-key freaks me out a bit. Reincarnation is kind of one of those things where the only explanation to a lot of these cases is just to be like, well, they're lying, and that is not a very good explanation. In my opinion, a lot of the times it's like, why would these people lie? I just think it's very interesting. But before we get into it, I would like to thank Purple Garden for sponsoring today's video. Purple Garden connects you with talented psychic, tarot, and astrology advisors. These advisors are ready to enlighten, inspire, and empower you, and they're all vetted and voted for by people like you. I personally love getting psychic readings to see the tea on several different things. I've used them to get readings on past lives to see what I was like in a past life. They told me I was a doctor. Agreed. I feel like I was a healer of some sort in a past life. My sister is a doctor in this present life, but at least I can tell my parents that I was a doctor in a past life. I also like doing end of the year readings / beginning of the new year readings just to see what's coming. I did reading before I moved to California to see how I was gonna like that, and it was actually very accurate. Regardless of what you want, Purple Garden has an advisor that's ready for you, and you just have to create an account and see which advisors of hundreds of them that are online right now. I really like that with Purple Garden, you can choose to connect via phone call, text chat, or video call, which is really cool because you have all three options. I personally like text chatting because I get a little nervous talking on the phone, so I like doing the text chat. Something I really think is cool about Purple Garden is that each advisor has recorded a brief video message where they like introduce themselves, share their expertise, their experience, and history. I feel like that makes choosing an advisor not only way easier, but also a bit more fun, and I feel like you can really connect and feel a vibe from someone via a video like that, so I think that's pretty cool. So if you guys want to check out Purple Garden, definitely go to trypurplegarden.com/Michelle, or you can click the link in my description box below and you can get the clarity that you need. As a new Purple Garden customer, you will receive your first deposit of $10 matched by using this QR code. So definitely go check them out if you're interested in getting a reading, and let me know all of the tea from your reading in the comments below. I love hearing about people's psychic readings. Thank you again to Purple Garden for sponsoring today's video. Without further ado, let's get into it. So the first reincarnation story that we're going to be talking about is all about a woman named Dorothy Edie. So Dorothy Edie was born on January 16th of 1904 in London, England. She was a very normal child. She had a super normal childhood up until the age of 3 years old when she was playing and she fell down a flight of stairs. Dorothy was knocked unconscious, and this fall changed the entire trajectory of her life. So she was pronounced dead at the hospital, but then ended up miraculously coming to a few moments later and started talking, but she was just completely different. She was talking in a foreign accent that her parents had never heard before, and she kept asking the people around her to take her home. Dorothy was never truly the same after this point. Her parents really tried their best to make her feel at home, but she started having severe nightmares and dreams about her old home that she would claim that she used to live at, and she would ask her parents every day, like, can I please go home? Can I please go home? And when her parents were like, you are home, she got very, very upset. In the first year of Dorothy's accident, her parents took her to the British Museum, and she was very bored, as any 4-year-old would probably be in a museum. But they got to the Egyptian exhibit, and this was when Dorothy went wild. She was so excited and so fascinated with all of the artifacts. She began crying and screaming and saying that these were her people. She began kissing the feet of all of the statues. She was saying that she was finally amongst her people. She was also yelling at random people in the museum, saying that they were being disrespectful because they were wearing shoes in front of these gods. And it was just stuff that a normal 4-year-old who is from London would not know. Her obsession with ancient Egypt only grew stronger as she got older. She began to get magazines all about ancient Egypt, and she saw a picture of the temple of Seti I, who was an ancient Egyptian pharaoh. And she pointed at this picture of Seti's temple and said, this was my home. Looked around at the picture and asked like where the gardens were, claiming that there used to be a bunch of trees and gardens in the area around Seti's temple. As she got older, she actually began to claim that her and Seti had a romantic relationship in a past life. Her parents honestly did not know what to do at this point. They were just getting very agitated by all of these claims that were made by their daughter. She was around 15 years old at this time. She was having crazy nightmares, just crazy dreams that led her parents to admitting her into multiple psychiatric hospitals, but nothing ended up working. Dorothy began to learn hieroglyphics and she picked up on it very, very quickly, claiming that the reason that she was picking up on it so fast was because she wasn't learning a new language. She was remembering one that she had already known. She claims that in her past life, she was a woman named Bentrishite, described being abandoned at the age of 3 years old and was raised in the temple of Seti. When she was older, she said that she met the pharaoh in the temple gardens while she was a priestess of Isis, which you had to be a virgin to be a priestess of Isis or you would get killed. She became pregnant with Seti's child, was sentenced to death, but she decided to take her own life instead. This became the story that Dorothy began to very much believe was her past life. Obviously, a lot of people thought that she was just crazy. I imagine that that would be really hard because obviously this girl wasn't just like making it up. She genuinely believed this to be true. Dorothy was 27 years old. She began working at an Egyptian magazine in London. She met a man named Imam Abdel Magaid and they fell in love. She eventually married him and they had a son who she named Seti after her past life lover. From then on, she went by Seti, which directly translates to mother of Seti. They moved to Egypt together, but they ended up divorcing 2 years later. But she stayed in Egypt and that is where she raised her son. In her 50s, she was actually given the opportunity to work alongside excavators in Abydos, which was where the temple of Seti was and where she claims was her home. She actually was able to really help excavators relocate grounds of the ruins of the gardens that she had talked about so many years before. Chief Inspector of Egypt's Antiques Department took her to Seti's temple to test her claims because I don't know, I would want to do the same thing and figure out if this girl was really telling the truth. Basically, what he had her do was stand in complete darkness and he would describe a painting to her and ask her to move towards the direction of this painting or where it would be located. She did so completely perfectly. The inspector was incredibly astonished by this because the locations of these paintings and murals were never published, so she would have no way of knowing where they were in the temple other than if she had been there herself. She passed away in 1981, completely believing and remembering her past life for obviously the majority of it, which is really crazy and really sad and makes you wonder if it was true. I mean, there was real facts. She knew about the garden in the temple of Seti, which were just things that she wouldn't have been able to know without living it. So I think this story is super interesting, but I would love to hear your guys' thoughts on it. Next reincarnation story we're going to be talking about is all about a boy named Thomas Nolan who remembers his life as a firefighter. A 4-year-old boy named Thomas Nolan began to concern his parents when he wouldn't stop talking about being a firefighter. His parents at first thought it was simply his imagination. I feel like a lot of kids want to be a firefighter when they grow up. It's pretty normal, but things started to take a bit of a darker turn. When he asked what he wanted to be when he grew up, he said, "I don't just want to be a firefighter. I have always been and already am a firefighter. I used to get up in the morning, go to work, and in the evenings I would come home and take off my fire proximity suit." Things that a 4-year-old just probably wouldn't know. His mother, Rachel, began to find the detail of Thomas's obsession with firefighters very concerning, and she began to ask him some more questions. He claims that he used to have to use an axe to check if there was a fire behind walls. What was truly startling was when he saw a photo of the World Trade Center in a magazine. About this photo, he said, quote, "The bad men burnt these buildings and people had to jump and I couldn't help. There were people waiting for firefighters, waiting for me, but I couldn't help them." Then that Thomas's mother began to realize that her son was potentially remembering a past life as a firefighter who potentially died in 9/11. She decided to ask Thomas how he got to the World Trade Center that day. He said that he rode in a truck that was a Ford Johnson R8, which is again very specific for a young child to even, I don't even know what that is. It's just weird that he would know. After doing some research, his mom found that that actually was the exact model of truck firefighters use in Manhattan. Thomas's mother, Rachel, was in complete shock because there were no firefighters in the family, no one who was there on 9/11 to talk about their experiences. Basically unexplainable that her son had all of these details. The only explanation that they could come up with was that he had been remembering a past life. That's just terrifying to me, but it's pretty cool if you think about it. I don't know. I get kind of scared, but what do you guys think? So the last story that we're going to be talking about is one of the craziest cases of reincarnation that I've ever talked about, I feel like I've ever researched. It is super interesting. And it is about a girl named Olivia who was born in Star, South Carolina. She grew up in a super Southern Baptist family who obviously never believed in reincarnation. Her parents claim that Olivia has always been super motherly. She was always really helpful, trying to take care of everyone. If someone got hurt at school, she'd be the first one to run and try to help them, or tell the teacher, like, this person got hurt, we need to help them out. She was just super caring and motherly as a child, which was obviously kind of strange for that age. Even though she was pretty independent and motherly, whenever her own mother would try to leave her to go to like the grocery store or wherever, she would have full-on panic attacks and just terrible separation anxiety. She had an extreme fear of abandonment and her parents had no idea why. One day, Olivia's dad brought home a guitar from work and she began playing this guitar and singing as if she had been doing so for years. When she was only like 4 years old, she had never taken a guitar lesson, automatically knew how to play and sing, and it was very strange to her parents. Her mom could only describe it as someone who had been trained to sing and play guitar for multiple years. But coming from a 4-year-old, it was just very weird. Her mom decided to ask her and said, "Where did you learn to sing like that?" And Olivia responded by saying, "Mom, I used to be a singer. I lived in California and then I moved to New York and I lived with a different family before I came to live with you." Mom asked her who she lived with and Olivia responded by saying that she lived with a Native American family. When her mom asked if she was also Native American, Olivia said no, that she was a white girl. Her mom asked how she got from place to place. She got around by wagons and horses. Next thing that she said was very dark and really scared her parents, but Olivia started to claim that her family got murdered. She said her and her sister Marianne were moving to California with her family. They were decided to settle somewhere for the night. Her family was killed by a Native American tribe who captured the two girls, Marianne and Olivia, and moved them into another tribe where they were abused, but then eventually moved them to a tribe where they were really happy and loved by a Native American family. That she really loved this tribe and she took care of all of the children in this tribe and she claimed to be their mother, not biologically, but she would take care of them. This was when Olivia's mom started to think that reincarnation was a possible explanation as to what was going on with Olivia. This is important to note for later, but she was also very sensitive of her chin. She was a very like sweet child. She would always let her mom like hug her, whatever, but anytime anyone would try to touch her chin, she would scream and lash out. Olivia's mom ended up calling one of her friends who was a member of a Native American tribe and told her the story of Olivia and everything that she was saying. Her friend encouraged her to research everything that Olivia was saying and try to find connections to her past life so that Olivia could heal in this present life. Her mom researched and found a pioneer woman named Olive Oatman. She was in California when a group of Native Americans killed Olive's family, but didn't kill Olive or her sister Marianne. I can't even believe that she got that name correctly. Like, that's really freaking scary. They were traded to a tribe that was treating them very poorly, but then eventually traded to the Mojave tribe, who was treating them with love and care, and they loved their time here. Ended up actually even getting chin tattoos to show that they were part of the tribe. Olive Oatman was also a singer. She used to sing for the tribe. She also took care of all of the children in the tribe, just like Olivia described. And later on, they found out that two white girls, Olive and her sister Marianne, were living with this Native American tribe, so they were forced to leave. And when they relocated, they went to New York, just like Olivia said. Her mom really began to believe that Olivia was Olive Oatman in a past life because of all of the connections, all of the things that Olivia was saying. It just seemed like there were way too many parallels to write it off as a coincidence. Olivia's mom actually recorded her showing Olivia a picture of Olive Oatman, and it was actually really cool to see.
Does this lady look familiar to you?
Face look like me.
Her face look like you?
Mm-hmm. See that? See that?
I looked at her, I said, does she? She said, Mama, she's got my face. When you look at her, their bone structures are almost the same. I think that's when it dawned on Olivia. I think we found her match.
So I definitely believe this Olivia girl was definitely Olive Oatman in a past life. It is pretty scary to think about, but also like very, very cool. Again, it's just kind of one of those things, other than saying that they were a liar, like what else could you say would be the explanation for that? She knew the sister's name. She had the weird sensitivity with her chin, and then it turns out Olive Oatman had a very important chin tattoo. It's just so many crazy little parallels that really add up. Olivia being Olive Oatman. It's even weird how similar their names are in this lifetime. But I would love to hear what you guys think. That is it for today's video. If you guys liked it, please give it a big thumbs up. Let me know in the comments below if you have any personal reincarnation stories. I'd love to read those. Or if you have any like big reincarnation stories that you want me to talk about that I haven't yet, definitely leave them down below. That is it. Make sure you follow me on Twitter, TikTok, and Instagram, and subscribe for new videos every single week. And I will see you guys later. Bye.